I'm joined here in Bunratty by the great Jamesie O'Connor, who is a special guest tonight for the launch of the Munster Championship. Jamesie, I just heard you give a great speech there, and you certainly brought back great memories of Munster Championships back in the day when you were playing yourself and growing up as well.
Yeah, I suppose, look, at Nicholas, the brief was, I suppose, to maybe just talk about my own experiences. And I mean, I would probably reference 93 and maybe my debut in the park against Limerick. And, I remember the parade and Dalo, I think, levelling with the Limerick players as we broke, just laying down a marker. We hadn't won a championship match, I suppose, in a few years. But it was great, as I said, to start my championship career with the win, especially over Limerick. And,
the old enemy, yeah.
We had obviously they returned the compliment in '94 in the Munster final. We beat them in '95, and then Kieran Carey's winner in '96. So yeah, great days, and I suppose it was nice to be able to recall some of those memories. Not all good ones, mind you, but I suppose the nature of the Munster Championship. Yeah,
the '95 Munster final. I'll have to admit I wasn't there. I was over in London, and I was actually with Fergal Hegarty's brother. And we watched the match, but the pride of walking down Kilburn High Road was something else second to that night with the Rays. I was with Jerry Rays, the Limerick man. But that kick-started it all. I know you had hard work doing in 2003 and 2004. Was really getting over the line in '95 was the big one, Jamesie, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, listen, Lognan, I suppose, had as a manager, or as a player himself, I suppose, had his fingers probably on that Munster title, but 77, 78. I remember even Killarney in '86. I mean, we came close so many times, and it was the Holy Grail, I suppose, and he spoke about it in, I suppose, reverential terms, and it nearly had that nearly mythical status for us. Yeah. And it was all we ever spoke about. So I suppose, look, to finally win it in '95 was massive for the county, and I mean, obviously it was one of the highlights of my career, and to see, I suppose, in the days and week afterwards what it meant, I suppose, to people around the county, especially people who'd travelled the country supporting Clare and had gone to Thurles and Killarney and I suppose the Gaelic grounds and come home beaten all those times in Munster finals. It was finally great, I suppose, to realise a dream for, I suppose, so many people, ourselves included, and it'll always have a special resonance for Clare people. Yeah,
I suppose that team came together where, I mean, you were an exceptional team, and you mentioned them there, the Lohans and the Dalos and the Hagos and the Bakers and all those lads, PJ O'Connell, Fergie too. You were a special bunch of lads, like you showed something that maybe we had great Clare teams down through the year, but she had just something that was just special, like a great bond as well.
We definitely had. I mean, we were blessed to have obviously fantastic players. I suppose we had a great management team. I mean, the stars were aligned. Colin Flynn, even the backroom team was, the medical side of things was a great man, and a fella that had a hugely important role. And I suppose look at behind the scenes and getting us right, and that little word in your ear and the treatment table when things weren't maybe going so well. So credit to Jerry, I suppose, Mike, Tony and Colin and the backroom team for, I suppose, look at having all the boxes ticked, having our hurling right, having our fitness right, but I suppose, look at more importantly, having us mentally right. And we had some great men on that team, and great players obviously, but an awful lot of underrated players, and there wouldn't have been any Munster title or All Ireland for that matter without the Conor Clancy's and the PJ O'Connells, and without the Rusty Chaplins and the John Chaplins and all those other guys on the panel that were driving us on in training and pushing us. So look, it was a time, I suppose, that we all treasure, and I suppose the camaraderie of that dressing room is probably the one thing that you miss when you retire. Yeah. And we probably don't see as much of each other as we'd like. We're all gone in different directions, and kids and all the rest of it now. But I suppose, look, it's getting not too far away from 25 years, and we'll obviously be stepping out in Croke Park, and it seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it'll be great to see you stepping out on the Croke Park, but it does seem like yesterday. But that's I'm up in the stand and I'm watching the match, like, and of course I'm a great critic, like. But you said it there, like, when you come off that first Munster Championship game you played against Limerick, the marks that the intensity, the hits you get, and we don't actually see that so much up in the stand.
Yeah, listen, I was 20 in '93. It was my first championship match, and I remember, and it was the same after, I suppose, all the matches in '93. I mean, I was hardly able to get out of bed the following day. Stiff, sore, the knocks. You looked at yourself in the mirror, and suddenly there's a welt here and another mark there, and you don't even know where half these marks came from. But look at that's the nature of it. And I suppose, look at a year later, you're older, you're stronger, and your body conditions to play in those games. But certainly, there is a difference. The Munster Championship, the intensity levels are up, the pace is up, the ball is moving faster. Everything is just done at 100 miles an hour, and it takes players, you don't get to that pace and adjust to that intensity overnight. And you know, it takes players maybe time to get comfortable with it. And you know, hopefully it's a we've a squad now that have, you know, played in those games at that pace, and you know, we'll be ready to go in 2018.
Yeah. What do you think of this new format, Jamesie? There'll be a lot of games now coming together. Like, it was different in your day.
I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I think as players, listen, you want to play. You know, everyone is guaranteed 4 games. I mean, the Limerick players trained every bit as hard as anybody else last year. They lost to us in the championship, drew Kilkenny in the qualifiers, and they were gone. You know, everyone gets 4 games. The best 2 teams will contest the Munster final. The top 3 teams will come out, and no one can have any arguments. And like, from a supporter's perspective, if you can't get excited, you know, obviously with us heading to Páirc Uí Chaoimh, a massive opening match with Cork, you know, Tip going to Limerick in the Gaelic grounds into the Colin, that's going to be on the same weekend, especially after the league semi-final, you know, epic a few weeks back. I think it's fantastic for supporters, and you know, the games are coming thick and fast. And you know, I referenced tonight that in '96, after Kieran Carey, that was it. We were done and dusted. It was 2001. Tip lost by a point when we were probably as good as anybody else in the country, and again had to go home and lick our wounds. And you know, that isn't going to happen this year. And I think finally, you know, the rivalries, I think will be there. You know, Clare and Limerick, I had 4 years in a row who we played. We didn't meet again in my career. I never played Limerick in the championship after that. You know, the new format, you're guaranteed that those rivalries, you know, will remain and grow. You know, and as I said, you know, I think especially with the matches home and away, I think it'll add something. And I just, as I said, hope that supporters, you know, get to the games now, get behind the teams, because you know, the level those guys are operating at now is, you know, higher than it ever was. Yeah. And as I said, it's as competitive and open a Munster Championship and arguably an Ireland Championship as we've had in a long, long time. And you know, I'm as I said, I'm really optimistic that we're going to have a great summer ahead.
Well said, and no better man to get the passion going than yourself, Jamesie. Jamesie, thanks very much for talking to me. It's a great honour to talk to such a great hurler, and you've given us great enjoyment, and that's still well in the memory. You mentioned 25 years, it doesn't seem that way. Thanks very much, Jamesie.
Okay, cheers.
Thank you.